All right, welcome to episode 551. We're doing a Morph Spotlight episode. We're talking tonight about the caramel gene. This will be fun for me, at least. We were just talking about this before the show, but like we start to talk about carpet python morphs that me and Owen were both involved with sort of on the ground floor. Like Owen's sort of like his big purchase was the Jag, right? That was your first big.
My first big carpet purchase was just straight up Willery Jag. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then right up against that, right after that would be my 09 pair of caramels.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
So Owen had a little bit of a head start with the whole, you know, the morph gene thing, you know, like he was sort of, I wasn't really involved in I wanted a Jag, but I really wasn't hardcore into carpets at that. You know, I was just coming into it. I was more into the Tigers
right
at the time.
But you know what's funny is that I had my first productive breeding season in 2010.
Yeah.
And then went and bought a pair of yearling caramel carpets. Like I had maybe 2 clutches under my belt, and I said, clearly we're successful now. Let's get it and
let's throw more money at the wall,
right,
and see what happens.
It was just, I would not recommend this, but yeah. Okay.
So I guess because it's sort of like when we have people on to talk about like the history of morphs or whatever, it's like sometimes I feel like a little bit detached from it because we weren't necessarily there. I mean, we knew about it, we know the history, but it's different when you were on
the fringe, so you learned the history later on, or you caught up with everybody. You weren't there in the front row watching this happen, and also getting your name tossed out there of who's this kid and why does he have these? It's like,
So I think if like the morphs that we'll cover going forward will probably be a lot cooler and we'll have a lot more experience because, you know, it's just that, I don't know, just how it is, but it's
because we were there, we were there. Yeah.
You know, MPR was just sort of starting and all that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. We were people involved in there, and it was like, God, I remember that.
Man.
God.
I've really been having a hell of a time going back through my archives and sort of like, oh shit, I remember this. Oh,
but you know, we talk about how the first one out of a morph is always fugly.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, it's weird. It hits weirder when it was like your animal was the fugly one, and it made your animals that are not fugly anymore. It's like looking at my original caramel Jags compared to the straight up, just, I'm not even talking supers, just normal caramel Jags. Right. Now I'm like, holy crap. Okay. Yeah.
That's what I say all the time, man. You're crushing it. You don't even realize it because you're seeing it all the time.
Right. I know. Every day I see these
you
guys.
You get numb to it. You're just like, just another caramel.
Better than the last one. Yeah. Yeah. But this is 4 last ones ago. Oh,
So this should be fun. So what we're going to do, we're just going to talk about the history of it, talk about the genetics of it, and then we'll get into the pairings that we did and some of the cool ones that we've seen. And I would say I'm just going to throw this quick little plug out. In the show, we're going to have a lot of pictures that we share and all that kind of stuff. They will eventually be up on the website. I hope by the time this episode is out, you'll be able to go over and check out and at least see some of the things that we were talking about. However, we do upload the video to our Patreon. So if you're interested, go check it out. Not trying to push anything on you. Just wanted everybody to know that there's that option.
Go check out
there.
Patreon. Yeah.
So let's get into it. All right. Caramel coastal carpet. So I guess we should start by saying this. Now, I'm going to go by what Nick is calling them. He's calling it the caramel coastal carpet python, originated from what we now call in the States the northern coastal carpet python.
Okay.
So, you know, now that the taxonomy is a little bit changed a little bit, you know, not officially, I guess, because it's not, you know, we accept it, but, you know, there's people that probably don't. But when we're saying coastal carpet tonight, we're sort of talking about what we call the northern coastal carpet python that's in the U.S., like Penn lines and, the Rockhampton localities, and Sylvester would be one. I don't know, tigers and the jags and, all those kind of things, right? You agree?
Yes, I would agree. Yes.
Okay. All right. So if we jump back and forth calling it coastal carpet python or northern coastal carpet python, we'll probably call it coastal carpet python, but that's what we mean. So where did it originate? It originated in France in 2003. There was a guy, his name was Christos Skreleris, I think it was. And this guy had two normal coastal carpet pythons. He bred them together and out popped what are now caramels in the clutch. So in 2003, Paul Harris, UK Pythons, he acquired several pairs of these quote unquote caramel.
It was my understanding he bought the entire clutch.
So on his website, he basically just says that he purchased several pairs, but Wouter, if you remember, purchased some as well.
Right.
Or maybe between the two of them, they purchased the whole.
Yeah, maybe between the two of those guys, that entire clutch was scooped up. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of weird, right? To think back then, especially with carpet pythons, like
to buy an entire clutch. Yeah.
Well, just to roll the dice on if this is going to be a morph or not. I mean, 2003 morphs, especially carpet pythons, weren't like a thing per se. You had like the couple of them or whatever. So anyway, in 2003, he got these. The babies were red in color with no noticeable black markings on them. They had like a fine brown edging, some of the pattern. And Paul, according to him, he was confident that this was going to be reproducible because the babies look so different to normals. And red babies that he saw that sometimes will pop out in coastal carpets, like what we call reds now. So obviously, you've dealt with both. I've dealt with both.
Yes.
Do you see a difference between the red and the caramel?
Yeah, but it's not immediate. So it takes a bit for red to kind of go off on this direction and for caramel to kind of go off on this direction. So like for a while, they're kind of running neck and neck and then they kind of split. And that was definitely true with what we were doing with caramels and reds at the time. Right. It seems like now that we've kind of refined and honed both, I don't know if you took like the best looking red,
it's hard, man,
and the best looking caramels and put them side by side as babies. I don't know if they would be as close as it used to be, but back then it was like a big no to mix a red with a
caramel,
because then you're like, well, then you're gonna have to hang on to the babies until
I think
this
it
all
still
gets
is.
sorted. Yeah,
I think there's a little bit of taboo.
I think it's taboo for the reason of why do it, because what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for having to deal with it later on. Like, why not just go this direction? Why mix the paints, kind of a deal?
Yeah, I think if I were to do it today, I would have to use a super caramel, proven super caramel.
Yeah.
So then I knew well, even then, not all the babies would be caramel.
No.
Right? Would they?
Well, if you bred a super caramel
to a red,
everything would have I think everything would have caramel.
Shit, it's been so long since
oh my god.
Wait, where's my Punnett square?
Yeah, everything would have caramel because it's a super, but I don't know what red gets into the mix of this. Would everything be red? Or would it be
everything would be red, yeah. Well, I've never
Would I be shocked if you got normal babies? No. Like if they were in there?
That would be hard to tell, right?
Yeah.
So this is sort of like, I guess, why people really don't do it. And it's sort of like the two. I think as adults, you can definitely tell the difference.
Oh God, yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
you can tell after about a year. You start seeing the reds develop. You start seeing the caramel develop. They will. I have a yearling red that Francis produced, Buddy.
Right.
And I have super caramels that I produced. They are extremely different, and I can even show them side by side. They are insanely different.
Right. You have to send me those pictures, and I'll put it up on the site.
I will. I have to pull Wanda and Neru, because Wanda's the red and Neru's the super. Problem is that some of my supers now have Xanax stuff in there. So I'm like, are you cool because you're a super, or are you weird looking because the Xanax in there now?
Sure. So anyway, Paul sort of felt that, with all the stuff that he was seeing and whatnot, that he felt that there was something different. So in 2006, he bred a male coastal jag to a female caramel. He had some normal looking jags, coastals, and caramel jags, and the caramel babies from that pairing. He had like a mix of it. So he was sort of like, okay, whatever. Yeah. So at that point, he took a guess and sort of said that the trait was incomplete dominant. And he hatched out. He did hatch out the combo of the caramel jag, which was the first to hatch out of that.
I love how you got a caramel jag. And then, didn't Nick have to be like, you need to breed the caramels to the caramels? Like, you need to prove the goddamn super is what needs to happen.
Yeah. Well, I think Paul, he goes the long route, man. I think he, and I would assume at this point that Nick is sort of talking to him. I'm not quite sure.
I think Nick was, because definitely at this point, because when I contacted Paul about getting caramels, Nick was the one who got back to me, not Paul. So
we'll get into that for sure.
Yeah, I threw a monkey wrench in that machine. I'll tell you what.
So 2007, Paul tried the same pairing again, and along with the second pairing, he did a male caramel to a female coastal jag. So he did the opposite, right?
All right.
Both clutches contain caramel jags and caramels, and normal jags and normal coastals. And in 2007, Paul was, which kind of sucks, but Wooter actually produced the first super in 2007, and I'm going to share this picture.
I believe I drooled over this picture several times, and now I think I got it.
Yeah. So,
all right.
I would say that the one on the bottom is a typical coastal, and
that might be a caramel on the bottom.
You think this one, a regular caramel?
Yeah,
you might be right.
Yeah,
because at first I thought it was red.
Yeah,
but this one on the top, you can see how much lighter that background.
I would say the one on the bottom could be a caramel, and then you have the other two, which are probably one's a high level super and one's a low level. Is that a jag on top? The one that's looking right at us. It's got a jag head pattern. Yeah. So you have a normal caramel, then you have a super jag, and you have a super caramel looking away from us.
Yeah. That would make sense, because the jag definitely will take that base color and make it.
Yeah, but the saddles are all messed up.
Yeah. Right.
That's weird.
Yeah. Okay.
That's screwy. Yeah.
So very cool.
Yes.
So there's that. And then right after that, Paul, he hatched out the same thing. And then when they actually went to prove it out, well, let me give you the stats of Paul's clutch. He had 19 eggs in the clutch. There were 10 caramels, 5 normals, and 4 quote unquote supers. Caramels, yep. Right. The supers were even brighter than the caramels and completely lacked any dark scales or markings altogether. Have you seen that? Yeah, I would say that
babies right out of the egg.
That clutch?
No. Well, even then, excuse me, babies right out of the egg. You're like, there's no black on it. Give it a minute. give it a minute. Don't worry.
That's a good point.
Because I'll tell you right now, I have hatched super caramels and super caramel jags where they have no black on them. Right. And then a couple of sheds later, there's one black scale. And there's another black scale. And then you watch their progression and you kind of see where the black and the speckling comes in. Yeah. And at one point, you're like, stop. That looks amazing. And then more come in. You're like, no. It's like,
yeah. And It's kind of what separates the hypo and again, this is my opinion from the caramel, right? The caramel doesn't really reduce the black. The hypo reduces the black. The caramel intensifies that orange yellow color.
Yes.
And the hypo, does, but not in the same way. But you can combine those two genes, but we'll get into that later.
Jesus Christ. I never want to do that. I never want to cross those streams. Yeah.
Yeah. So in 2009, Paul bred his male, what he thought was the super caramel, to a normal coastal and hatched out all caramel babies. So there's our answer.
Super, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't done a super to a normal in so many years.
I know that's sort of Nick's thing, right?
Yeah.
He sort of went about the way that he bred. So, you can listen to him on past NPR episodes.
That he would have nothing but caramels.
Because he
nothing but
do
supers
and blah, blah, because he just didn't want to mess with it and whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's sort of the history of it. And I guess this is sort of like where we come in. So I started, I remember looking up carpet python websites and, I think I didn't have anything crazy at this point. I think the craziest thing I had and the most expensive stuff that I had was citrus tigers, right? This is what I had.
Yes.
So I must have been listening to the reptile radio or whatever. I get the morph bug. I'm like, I want to check this out. I start just look. So MP forums had these banners that were at the top of the forums, and there was all these different carpet python breeders. So you'd click on it and it would take you to one. So one of the ones, and I'm going to share this now because this is a blast from the past for me and Owen.
Yep. Is Sopex serpents.
Yes. Hold on, let me share it real quick.
So, and another thing they did is they would have a certain thing of like they would have a morph discussion page, and obviously Paul showed off the caramels and he talked about the caramels and or Nick did for Paul. It was known. And then Chris Proctor, who owned Sopex Serpents, he started kind of purchasing some morphs and getting some projects going because a lot of times, of the people who were working the projects had one piece of the puzzle and somebody else had another piece. So like the first Tiger Jags came out because there was a breed loan between Balin and Will Leary. Balin had the Tigers, Will had the Jags. So the same thing was kind of being talked about and a couple other things. So Chris Proctor was definitely, he got professional photos done of his animals. And he was talking about how he was the first person to hatch albino carpet pythons in the States.
Yes.
And his whole thing was to make the albino combinations that we all kind of wanted. So he was going to take the caramels and cross them to albinos to make sun glows.
Yes. Which he talks about on here. Snows and sun glows.
Snows and sun glows. Yep.
So I remember going to this website, and I'm looking at it, and I was like, albino?
Look how busy patterned the Jags are in the top. Yeah. I mean, that's a classic Jaguar head.
Yeah. Jags? Okay.
Jags?
Albino
tigers?
And then I was like, caramels? What the hell is that about?
Do you have a shot of the caramel page?
Well, no.
Okay.
You can't because there's no pictures on it. I think it's one of those things where...
No, there was a picture because the picture that was on the caramel page was Venus.
Here it is. This one, right?
No,
this is a caramel jag.
That's a caramel jag. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if you clicked on any of these, it would take it.
Take you to the page.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's a good example of you can tell the difference between a jag and like what we're calling a caramel jag.
Yeah.
At the time, you're sort of like that orange in the saddles like really popped out more so than what you see. And you can see how much more dark is in that.
I still probably hatch caramel jags that look like that regularly.
Do you?
So, yeah. They're always one of the that pops up like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he had those, and his whole thing was to do that. And I think what ended up sinking his ship was Pure Darwin's hit the shores.
Yeah, there was he was kind of like not liked because he had investors, and right? Didn't he have investors?
He had a couple. I think he had a dentist that was buying the animals and was going to breed them too. And a couple people might have felt a little raw about like he made sure that he was the first guy there that got the biggest animals that were coming in the shipment and stuff like that. So
right,
but classic burnout, dude. I think he hatched the albinos. He wrote that article for Reptiles Magazine about hatching the albinos,
which I have, which is pretty cool. I found that.
It's back there over there.
Yeah,
it's over there. And then I think he was talking about breeding because he was also at this time buying Xanax and stuff like that to make snows.
Yeah.
So he decides he's had enough of this. So he bails.
He dropped the prices, right?
Yep. He sold everything.
Yeah. Dirt cheap too.
Dirt cheap. And I know you posted his 1.1 caramels. And I contacted him.
Yeah.
And they had already been called. They'd already been claimed. They were sold.
Okay.
So I remember being.
Do you know who already
bought them? No, I don't.
Okay.
No, I do not. So somebody was going to buy them, and I was kind of bummed. And I remember talking to Foley about this, and he's like, well, because I remember I was on the fence. He's like, dude, it's a project. It's a good project. Go jump on that shit. I'm like, all right.
Right.
And so I missed out at it, and I contacted Nick. Or contacted Paul about getting it because I'm like, I'll get a caramel because you know what? I've bred Jags, damn it, and now I can do this. It's like Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
So before Paul and Nick got back to me, Chris Proctor sent me another email saying that the original buyer had backed out, and if I still wanted them, they were available.
Okay.
So I jumped on them. And I got that pair. Which were Mars and Venus, which is the entire the base the foundation of my entire caramel projects. So.
Yeah, and I remember coming to your place. You were still in Jenkintown.
Yep.
Still in the little room.
Yep.
And you
had the little room.
Yeah, and you had the caramels, and I was like, oh yeah, that's so cool.
So I remember shortly after I got them, Nick called me, and Nick and I had done. I think maybe I bought one carpet from him at one point or not. Right. I don't remember. But he calls me. He's like, oh, yeah, Paul said that I should probably give Owen a call and see what's going on. I'm like, actually, I got a pair of caramels. He's like, yeah, I bet you did. And I'm like, well, yeah, I got them from Chris Proctor. Dead silent on the phone. Like, dead silent. So you got those. So I'm like, oh, like, oh, no. And he's like, just so you know, when you produce, we're going to have to talk about price, you and I, because I'm going to make sure that's a project. And you somehow slid your way into a project. I'm like, oh, no, I've gotten behind the curtain. Oh, no.
Yes. Oh, that's so awesome.
Yep.
Now he had the two of us to worry about.
Yeah, I know. He's like, I think at one point he said something about the water in PA. I don't know what's up with you guys. It's like,
now I have to keep an eye on you pesky MPR boys.
There's been a couple. I forget what I said to Nick. It was a couple of years ago. It was about like a year or two ago. I don't know. I'm sorry. It was at Carpet Fest because we were talking. I'm like, oh yeah, I got Dunai, and he goes, of course you have Dunai. Of course you have Dunai. Like, he's like, here I am thinking I have all this, and there you are with it over there. Okay, so.
So before, right at sort of at the. So when was that? That was like 2012, maybe. It's like right after we started NPR, right?
It was close because I got their 09s. I got them when they were about a year and a half old.
Okay.
Because I had to wait because Mars was ready.
That would make sense. It was before we started NPR.
Yep. Okay. Mars was ready first, and the idea was I was going to breed him to a tiger, and then once Venus was ready, shortly thereafter, I'd cross them to make the supers.
Right.
And that is exactly what the fuck I did. So it's like correct. But yeah,
for me, I was looking at there's probably 4 websites that I went to religiously. UK Pythons.
Yep.
AC Reptiles.
Yep.
Precision Reptiles, which was the competition.
There was Ollie,
There was Ollie and Paul, and they were sort of competition over in Europe. And then what was the other one? I did go to the Sobeek Serpents and stuff. Probably not as much as the other three. And then, sometimes you'd go, I think Headhunter was a website that I would check out, Balin. Nick really didn't have, Nick's website today is great, but back then it was kind of like, it was all scrub pythons and shit on there. And I was just like, what is this?
I remember going to Reptilicus Reptiles, which was the Leary's page.
That was the other one. That was the one I was thinking of. Yeah. Which is like when we joke about it, these are all the websites that I have printed out in this. This is
in your magic book. Yep.
Volume 1.
Yep.
So anyway, I saw that there was this caramel thing. I wanted to get into the morph side of carpets because I felt like, if I were to get into ball pythons, I felt like I would just be trying to constantly catch up. And I didn't really see a whole lot of people working with the carpet python mutations. And it seemed like it was sort of a hot thing. So I'm like, let me do it. So same like you said, I contacted Paul and somehow I got rerouted to Nick.
Right. Somehow Nick shows up.
So I'm sitting there and I said, hey, I really want a caramel. So Nick's sort of talking to me back and forth. What do you got? I'm telling him about the citrus tigers. And that's when he was like, oh, they're bullshit crosses, And I'm like, screw you, man.
I remember because I had the same conversation with him and I told him I had HCQs. He goes, that's all crap. I'm like, okay.
That was like, Nick was a little more hostile back then, I guess.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, that's all bullshit. That's all bullshit. And, of course you want to know, like, why is it bullshit?
Why?
Like,
I spent money on this. Well,
you haven't graduated to that level
I
yet.
don't know if you're in the inner circle yet. It's just, like, okay. Right.
So, Nick says to me, he's like, okay, I can get you a caramel jag, and I was like, okay, all right. I was like, cool. I'm just going to go straight to the caramel jag.
Yeah.
So, I think it was $1,500 for the caramel jag, which I guess back then was pretty high.
It's about,
but it wasn't crazy. Like,
I think back then Jags had dipped into the 700s.
Yeah, I think I got it was like $100 tiger jag from Bale.
Right. So it's like, all right, so jags are here, tiger jags are here, and then caramel jags are here because it was the idea of that the next level up will be a caramel tiger jag.
Right.
We don't have caramel tigers yet to make the caramel tiger jag. Like, there was all that stuff.
So in true Nick form,
levels.
He says to me, so what are you going to breed it to? Not one of those stupid citrus tiger things, are you?
You're not gonna breed that crap, are you?
Well, I guess not.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you need a female caramel. Maybe I can talk to Paul.
I'll put that in the box as well. What else you need?
Right. So I end up getting one caramel jag male and 3 caramel females.
Jesus. I remember you had that one caramel female that I wanted so bad. She was like reduced pattern.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was so this was the caramel jag that I got from, again, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah.
It's nothing insane as far as jags. Not like what you're producing nowadays. You got to remember,
you got to remember he came over here.
Yes.
And he is the basis of several caramel jags over here.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and then the female that you were talking about, let me see if I can pull her up real quick. Yeah, here she is. She was really nice. She was the nicest of the 3 because at the time, that was the caramel female. Yeah, she was really nice.
It's weird because you look at her and you look at my female, and there are similarities, but then there's differences.
Yeah,
and it's cool, and it's obviously that they're related, but it's just something different.
Yeah. So the other 2, the one was really dark as far as caramel goes. I couldn't find a picture of that one. I probably didn't take a picture because she was so dark.
It's funny because it's like what we were saying is like you showed like that your boy there. It's like, well, I'll just do this too because Oh no, I can't pull it up. Oh, never mind. Didn't work.
Send it to me. Send it to me in a message, and I'll pop it. Yep. But so I'm like, okay, so now I actually looked up my copybook too to sort of look and just like get an idea of like, you know, where my mind was at the time. And this is her. Oh no, is that a Caramel Jag? I can't remember. No, that's a Caramel Jag. But that was a clutch that I produced of Caramel Jag. Yeah, that's
Jag. That's Caramel Jag with a bunch of eggs.
Yep. Yeah, that was my clutch of caramel to Caramel Jag, which I forgot I did.
Which I forgot happened here.
There's a lot of things I forget that I did when I started going through. Anyway, so, you know, he's like, okay, we work out a price. Everything's cool. And I was like, I was real excited about it. And, you know, that comes in. So what would happen is Nick would sort of bring in a shipment once a year. You know, a bunch of people would get in on it. And I think, you know, Kerry did, Balin did, I did, you know, your top high-end carpet morph people at the time were sort of, you know, looking to get in on some of those things. So I get that. And I was like, okay, cool. You know, and then next year, the next time it came around, that's when the Zebra Jag came into play. And that's when it was like, now, yeah, that originally was supposed to go to Kerry King. For some reason, he backed out of it. And Nick asked me if I wanted it. And next thing you know, he's like, okay, so you got the Zebra Jag. What about a Caramel Zebra? And I was like,
oh, okay.
Wait,
yeah.
There's a Caramel Zebra you can buy, you said?
Of course there is, if you know the right people.
Right. So then I ended up getting 1.1 Caramel Zebras, and they were the first ones to come into the U.S. And that was in 2012, I think.
Okay.
Is when I did that. And that shipment was the one where we always joke about, where I paid for the wing of Paul's
the Paul's house. Yeah.
Because it was the Zebra Jag, which was $5,000 at the time. Jesus. Isn't that nuts?
That's insane.
Yeah. Caramel Zebras. I got a Caramel Head Albino, a Zebra Head Albino. I think at the time I also got what was the other one? I think I got a Het Granite Head Albino. Jesus. And then a Jag Head Albino. All in one shipment. Which was nuts. But anyway, yeah, that was sort of into my entrance into the Caramel project. And I think after that, some of the other stuff that I started to get into was like Caramel Het Granites. I got into, I think at that same time that I brought those in, I got Zebra Het Granites. And at that same year, I brought in that Super Caramel Zebra Jag.
I remember that. Yeah.
Which that was a looker. And he went on to make me some Super Zebras and, you know, all kinds of crazy Caramel Zebras and stuff. I think that was like the first time he produced was 2015. And when we get to that, we'll go through clutches and stuff that we produced. But so yeah, genetic wise, you know, it's obviously we already said it's incomplete dominant. Hatchlings emerge, like we said, with the shades of red or brown, and then, you know, reduced dark pigment as the caramel develops. The reddish tones of the juveniles fade, and it's like more yellow pigments. Where I have seen some of Nick's, and like, so I was going to ask you this: like, what have you seen as far as the orange or the yellow? Have you seen, like, does it matter what you're putting that animal with? Because let's talk about some of your pairings, because you really just did, you know, caramels to different kind of coastal.
Right. So the first pairing I did was a caramel to a tiger, Ted Thompson tiger that I had.
Okay.
And he was bright yellow, this male tiger. I'm sorry, female. Oh, God, no, I'm sorry. Jesus, what the hell am I saying?
It's hard to remember, man. It's like a lifetime ago.
It is, because that was a different pairing. So the first thing I did is I crossed my male, because I was going to do male to a tiger, but I didn't. I did male to an M pen, a yellow M pen.
Yes. Okay.
And I made the caramel M pens, and I sold every single one of them like a fucking idiot. So
that M pen was nice too.
Oh my God. And I only ever got that one clutch out of her, and I hate it. Yeah. And then the year after, I bred the female caramel to a yellow tiger.
Okay.
That produced caramel tigers.
Now, wasn't it difficult to sort of get the striping in the caramel?
I didn't find it was difficult to get the striping. It was difficult to get the right color, because the problem is that you're dealing with caramels, which is like, okay, it's a little bit different than a normal.
Uh-huh.
And I got a kind of good striped tiger out of my first one, which is scarlet.
Uh-huh.
But just the color wasn't there. Because you and I had the debate a couple years later. Is you're like, are you sure she's a caramel tiger? Because she didn't look like Carrie's caramel tigers. I'm like, well, no shit. Like he's at least another gen ahead of me. Like,
right.
So, but she threw caramels when I bred her.
Uh-huh.
So I kept breeding her to Jags to make these really nice caramel tiger Jags and super caramel tiger Jags and stuff like that. Okay. And then it's only this past year that I got a nice striped caramel boy to chuck her to. And then she's the mom of the M Pen striped caramels that I got right now.
Okay.
So out of all that, I think I got one super caramel out of the group. Everybody else is a caramel stripe.
Okay.
And I'll tell you right now, the super caramel is banded as shit. Like, he's not striped. So it's like, keep going. Like, we have to just kind of keep going around again.
Right.
So, but now I'm smarter, and I'm keeping a pair of these striped caramel things. So when we go around again, I'll be ready.
Right.
So, but it's hard adding that stuff in. So I sent you a couple pictures. First is the original pair of caramels that I got from Chris Proctor versus that Jag, the Jag you were showing. Him again, but at my house, like, in a bucket. So, you know, because
okay. So this is the male.
This is the male caramel Jag that after you sent him over here.
Gotcha.
And he's the dad to a lot of stuff over here, which is really cool when you start seeing like his kids have cleaner, like beige, and then nicer caramel in the saddles. And it kind of is like step one, they get brighter. Step two, the black goes away. It's like you kind of see it click as you go through.
Okay, so this is that same boy, just older.
Caramel Jag boy, but he's in a bucket. And it's like looking at him, looks like a Jag. Like, he doesn't really look like anything else. Yeah. But it's like, I'll show you I'll send you over his two of his kids that I ended up using for everything.
Okay. So that's him.
That's him.
Let me get this one down as we go. And then we have, so what was this one is,
all right, so that is the male. That's my original caramel male. And you see how freaking dirty he is, dude? Like, not that he is like actually dirty, but look at all the black tips in between those bands. And look how banded he is. Like, what the hell was I gonna? Of course he didn't throw striped tigers.
Yeah.
Look at him. But
good Lord. We had so much vision, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we had
looking
so
at
much
him
vision.
Now.
We thought that was beautiful back
Look
in the
what
day.
I can do with this.
Wow, this is amazing. Oh my gosh.
Oh God. But yeah, that was him. That was the starter there.
And then what's this one here? That is
my caramel female.
Okay.
That's my original caramel.
Caramel.
That's my original caramel female.
Yeah, see, she's so much prettier, right?
And she's got so much black on her, though. And yeah, she was compared to him. He was dog shit. Yeah. You know, and not to say that Mars was not a pretty boy when he shed, but like most of the time he was that like darker black, and he did get a lot of tipping as he got older. But you still see on hers, look how much black she has.
Yeah.
On her pattern, and that just floods in. Every once in a while, I still hatch a caramel that has a ton of black on it.
I think this must be why in the back of my mind I remember these images, but I don't remember these images. But I think of like what you're doing with caramels now, and I think of like where it started, and you know what I mean? So
where's it at now? Yeah,
like, dude, you don't understand how fucking cool this is. Let's go back in our time machine to 2011 and
let's
see
take
what
a look
we
at
think.
it. Like, I mean. And the things that hatch out of the eggs now, I would have killed someone for in 2011.
It's nuts.
But right now, I'm like, it's all right. It's better than last year.
It bothers me so much that like I can't get past that in my. I'm like I try so hard to be. I know. Appreciate what you got right now because
it's so difficult because again, you said it like you hit the nail on the head. I see them every day.
Yeah,
I know. Dude,
it's hard, man.
We're getting at the point now where some of these animals, I have seen them every day for their entire lives. You know, I hatch these things. I hatch their parents, and it's like, you kind of. It's I don't want to say you take them for granted, but you kind of forget every once in a while until somebody comes over and goes, "Holy shit!" You're like, "Oh yeah, he is pretty, isn't he?" Like it's.
I'm so happy that I archived this shit because like I look back and I just look at like what we experienced coming into the carpet python world as opposed to like what somebody coming in today. It's just like, holy shit, man. I don't know. I guess I'm just a nostalgic person. So, and then you have another one that you sent me, which is this one. What's this one?
First of all, that's my first
fucking head stamp.
Yeah, that's my first.
It's like a mask, Dakota. Man. It's like one of those masks you put on base. You know what I mean? It's on the
and I'll tell you right now, when she hatched, there was no black on her.
Right. So that must have all creeped in. Yeah, you can see.
Yep.
You can sort of see if you like, you're looking at these scales here.
Yep.
When they hatch, that won't be there. And then as they age,
even the black on their tail, all that black, none of that was there when she hatched. She was red, bright red.
Yeah. I remember the tails, for whatever reason, always seem to stay. But I don't know what it is about carpet pythons and tails, but like the tiger, it'll like solid stripe all the way down to the animal.
Yep. It'll just jump a couple scales. It's like, you bet. What's funny is that Dakota, she's obviously Mars and Venus's kid. So she's the first super I produced. Dakota, I ended up breeding to a Kohler het exanic, which I got 2 kids out of that, which I bred together, which I got my exanic caramel stuff that last year. It's like so Dakota's kids bred last year, and then one of her kids bred with a caramel jag het exanic to make that exanic ghost jag that I hatched out this year. So it's like pulling the threads. Too. Oh yeah, pulling the threads to get to him. Oh, he's finally eating on normally now.
Okay,
not like an idiot, and he's growing. So he's about to shed, and he's gotten to a point now where it's like I think when he sheds this time, I'm gonna like be stunned by him. So I'm cautiously optimistic and like checking his bin and being like, so. But yeah.
So this was the first super you produced.
First super I produced, yeah.
Okay.
And she looks nothing like the supers I'm producing now, which is so weird.
So what's the difference between then
less black, less black, different pattern. So I just sent you. So you remember your caramel jag that you sent me over? So I produced 2 kids with him, 2 boys, and it's like seeing the difference between a caramel jag.
Holy shit!
Just one generation in, and you see the change of the colors.
Oh, yeah.
So
let's bring them up real quick.
And they're not supers because I bred him with I bred him with the caramel tiger the one time, which I think is where his one kid came from. But then the other one I think was just to another coastal. I don't remember.
Yeah, you can see how the yellow is intensifying.
Yep.
The thing that I love about what the Jag does with the caramel is that the saddles have that orange color.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually quite like it when it's outlined in the black because I think it really gives contrast to the two.
Yeah, it does.
And then, it really makes it stand out. And I think the difference between this and the red would be that like the red, that orange sort of fades away as it ages. And the base color doesn't have that yellow. It has more of a khaki, at least in my experience breeding red Jags as opposed to caramel Jags.
So that's one generation. So that's Eros.
Okay.
Eros was the worst Jag I ever had. He would and he would lay on the ground. Like he was terrible. And then that's Varus. So now I took Varus.
Right.
And I bred him back to his mom, which is Venus. So he was from your Jag to my original caramel female Venus.
Okay.
And I thought it was a female, so I raised it up. And with him, it's one of those like he could be a super, he could not be a super. He's got a lot of black on him. So I bred him back to his mother, and I just sent you his daughter, which is Needle. And you can see that whatever little black was left, just out the fucking window. It's like it's gone.
Wow.
So
that's cool, man.
Yeah,
that's a cool looking carpet.
Yeah, and she's
I'm not a Jag guy anymore, but
bright yellow now.
Holy shit, that's a nice carpet. I love the head stamp.
Oh, and she's a pistol. Oh God, she's horrible. But,
I know you bust my balls about head stamps, man, but that used to be one of the coolest things.
People would look for that. Yeah, I only want turtle head stamps. Shut up. Like it's with her, you can tell because I mean she's got that bald back, but you can tell that she's not a tiger Jag because there's still leaking into the back. But
yeah,
I mean I think she's a super. I just have to prove it, but there's no black on her.
Yeah, so if you're to describe this animal from the one that we just showed that Owen had that was prior to this one.
It was a Jag with some caramel saddles.
It had more of the orange. Yeah. And you can see on this one where the black is almost gone in the saddle. So you can see where it's reduced because it's only at the top of the saddle. And it's like a little tiny bit.
It's almost like you have the saddle now, and instead of the black outlining, it's like a dot. It's almost like an ocelot where it's like a dot inside the saddle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the tail sort of stays, as they do, like I was saying earlier. But is this the one that you sent me that is the picture of the thumbnail?
Yes.
The head.
Yes, that's Needle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh. That when I saw, I'm gonna have to actually pull that picture up. Because,
and she was one of those. She came out of the egg, and I'm like, staying. I don't care what it is. Look, I don't. If it's a male, I'll figure it out.
What were you trying to like? What was your goal that one stood out to you? Like why?
The goal was I wanted to try to because I had produced some super caramel Jags, and unfortunately, I lost one female when she was still very young, and then I lost the other one when she got to breeding age. I was getting ready to breed her, and I thought she was gravid. It turns out it was cancer. So that was the biggest kick in the pants, is that I wanted a female super caramel Jag, and I had these two great representations, both of which died on me. So the idea was to kind of, Venus had thrown so many good looking animals, and she was getting up there in age, and I didn't want to keep pushing her. So I decided that's her. Yep.
Yeah. Same snake, just different.
Same snake.
Look at the eyes.
She's mad.
and the lack of, the thing I love about her head is that she just has a lack of pattern.
Yeah.
Which is wild for a carpet,
Right.
Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. Totally good. So I wanted to get back on that horse, and finding out that this caramel jag that I had raised to like the best size that you would ever want in a female wasn't breeding with the male I put it in with. They were just kind of like canoodling and, hanging out.
Right.
And so I literally picked him up and put him in with the one female I know is proven like 18 million ways to Sunday.
Right.
And he locked up with her. And I'm like, well, all right, I guess. Okay. And I'm like, I probably would have done this pairing anyway. And then she came out of it. And I'm like, well, thank fucking God I did. Like,
right.
Yeah. But
wow.
with her, I just wanted the reduction. So, I mean, thinking about a male for her has been so hard because it's like, I need something clean and I need something crisp. And it's like,
yeah,
obviously it has to be caramel. So it's like, I don't know if I've produced the male I want to put to her yet, but yeah.
Yeah, it's good to have her as a holdback, though.
Oh,
that's
my God.
For sure.
Oh, my God. Yeah. I held nothing but females back that year. And the two I did hold back, I held Needle back and I held the other one, Enola back. And she's a super Enola. She's not she doesn't have any jag in her. But it's weird because like, as we branch off and add other caramel stuff, it's like everybody's connected, but not like, dad over here might be cousin or uncle over here kind of a deal. So
I know you did. So you did like a lot of coast, like I was saying earlier, you did a lot. I did
a lot of tigers,
coastals and tigers and jags and stuff.
Yep. I did a lot of tigers. I did a lot of jag stuff in there. And, I've started to kind of fold back in with crossing, because it was like the caramel tiger I produced, I bred her to make more caramel jags that had really nice color and really nice bald back. It's almost going the tiger jag route with them.
Right.
Instead of what I should have been doing the whole time was using her to refine freaking striped caramels. Like, what the hell? It's the dumbest shit ever. But so far, so good. So, yeah.
Yeah, some of the crazy ones that, I was just going to show a couple of Nick's crazy ones real quick so that you can see like just how there's a lot of variability and a lot of different ways you can go.
So much.
His seemed to throw more orange
to
me, than what I see from like either you or me. And I guess the difference between me and Owen is like I've done a couple of what you would call, pure, well, you know what I mean when I say pure carpet pipe, coastal carpet pipe, northern coastal carpet
python.
Yes.
Woo. Yes.
So, but I did a lot of Mutt's designer stuff, I did a lot of like, combinations, which you want to talk about having no idea like what's hatching out. You're just like, wait, what?
The hell is that? Yeah. I did love your clutches where shit would come out and you'd be like, what do you think this is? I'm like, I have no goddamn idea.
Yeah.
So,
this was some of Paul's original stuff.
Yep.
Caramel jags.
Original jags. Yeah.
And again, you can see the orange and the black, and you can, especially when you're comparing it to the one where you produce Needle is the difference.
I mean, it's kind of like you see the steps. So like Paul and Nick were on the same steps I were. It's just, again, the variability of carpet python. It's like the next step is where you start losing black, you start doing other things. And it's funny because I will say that the caramel,
you need one like that for her.
I mean, yeah. I need to get a really reduced super for her.
Yeah.
So a lot of my supers have a lot of black on them still, just because mom had so much.
Yeah.
But it's like the base color is gorgeous. So we're reducing it. I think what's going to end up happening is it's going to end up being the super, the super caramel Xanax are going to end up playing a part into it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So let's see. And then for me, like I said, I think, I started bringing in crazy stuff, and the caramel had albino. So at this point you're looking at a Darwin, coastal cross, which you actually have that girl now.
I do. I do. That's serious. Yeah. But she produced all my albinos this year. Yeah. And I hate them all. Like, well,
so because yeah, you can't tell. Like,
I can't tell. Is it a caramel albino or is it a normal albino? I'm like, color up faster, damn you.
So the only thing that I noticed when it comes to that, when you start adding in combos of morphs and stuff, is that with the albino, you almost see like as it ages, because when they hatch out, they're all pink.
They're all pink.
You know? And they sort of get like this lavender look to them almost.
Okay.
Like, so where the pattern would be, like the inside the saddle sort of looks lavendery. That's been my experience.
I will say the babies she threw that are not albinos are absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're caramel and they're like her, but like, you know how she's had a ton of black on her?
Yeah.
Take away some of it.
Yeah.
And she's speckled and beautiful.
Yeah.
So that is what her kids that are not albinos are. They are caramel speckled, like almost like a reduced pattern granite.
Right.
Oh, okay.
So when I was blown away when we started to mess with it's kind of similar to what we saw with IJ Jags, right?
Right.
You know, Bullwinkle is like one that comes to mind that everybody sort of knows that if you're into carpets. But, you know, everybody was crazy about the way that looked. And it just seemed that like when you're adding the caramel with the popwin, you sort of get this insane type of yellow. But so I guess the difference is at the time, you know, we were still, this was what I think picked her up in 2013, maybe.
It was in the teens. Yeah.
Yeah. It was like 2013, 2014. Yeah. But at the, you know, like we were showing earlier, the caramels really haven't caught up because now you could make a caramel that's no IJ in it.
Yeah,
and looks like this.
There. Exactly. It's kind of like, so it's almost like, can you make a Jag with bright yellow jungle colors? Yeah, it's going to take you a while. Or you could take a Jag and throw it to a jungle and here we go. Yeah.
Right. That was a big project that I got in on. And then I started getting in on I think another one that with the caramel specifically was where is it? The caramel zebra was like a big one for me. So let me get her. Where's she at? Here
so it was like, again, there was a lot of different combinations of caramel because the idea was it was a base morph.
Yeah.
The base morph idea was to cross it with everything. And people did. And then they kind of took a couple steps. I know a lot of people did what they wanted to do and then kind of bailed on it or got to a certain point. Like the refinement wasn't really there, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's sort of what I was saying. Maybe it was a couple episodes ago.
Right.
Maybe it was on our Patreon talk that I was talking about. What would I do different? Yeah, that's what it was. But one of the things that you know that I think where me and you went on different paths, and I'm sort of wishing that I went more the direction that you went.
Yeah.
Is that I focused on just making the combo.
Right.
And then I was going to refine it.
Right.
Not understanding how long that's going to take.
Right.
2, how many animals you have to hold back in order to do such a feat. Right.
Right.
Whereas if I would have focused just specifically on, you know, just I'm going to do citrus tigers. Yeah, I'm going to mix in the caramel or the Xanic or whatever, blah, blah, blah.
But you have your base.
This is the base.
Yeah.
Right. And it's sort of like what you did, right? Caramel's your base. You've added the Xanic, you've added the Jag, you've added the Tiger, you know, you've added different types of coastals and stuff like that. But you're still, you know, staying at that base. I wish I would have did more like that, but you know, hey, it is what it is.
Things are different, dude. You
freaking loved every minute of the crazy carpets that I had and hatched out. And but this was the caramel zebra. She was kind of a big deal to me. She was. I had a male. He wasn't as nice as her, but definitely was weird. It was crazy to see how much the zebra pattern really changed the way that she looked.
I mean, it's very reduced in that kind of stuff. And it's almost like I kind of wish the steps had been taken to kind of see how the super kind of played in there.
Right.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the babies that they produce. So I did this clutch in 2015. It was the super caramel zebra jag to that caramel zebra female.
Right.
And, just the jags alone were just
gorgeous,
insane,
Yeah.
I mean, very reduced black. Again, that came in a little bit as they aged, but definitely had that high yellow. Love the eyes, just really, really, really nice. Caramel zebras, some of the ones, they were nice, but they were a little bit, they weren't as bright. You know what I mean?
It's it's so weird because it's like caramel zebra. You imagine the color is going to kick in there, and then did you produce some caramel zebra jags, right?
Oh yeah.
It's like oh yeah, that's pretty. Oh holy shit! Like it's like
wait till you see this one.
Yeah, but to say then that steps up, and
this one had a stripe all the way down its back, which was nuts.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. See, that's the problem. Is that back then we're sitting there and we should sit back and refine. What's this pretty thing over here? It's like yeah. So, did you have problems with this clutch? I can't remember because his eyes seem small.
No,
not
right. With this one.
No, other ones. But yeah,
the zebra and the granite.
Damn it! That's it. The zebra granite was the one that you wanted to pull your hair out. Yeah,
I had trouble with that one. And then,
damn that stripe though. You must have been so goddamn happy with it being fucked up.
Yeah, I produced this super, but the crazy thing is, I don't know who I sold it to. That was in that clutch.
You produced that super zebra. It's a super caramel zebra.
Yeah.
No, super caramel super zebra.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. And you don't know where it was.
I don't remember this. I was saying to Owen earlier, I was like, Owen, I'm going through zip drives and books and everything, and I'm lining everything up. And I was like, I produced this?
No, I didn't. Dude, I didn't even go into the clutches because I don't want to see some of the animals that I let go. Because now I'd be like, oh my God, I sold that. And I'd just shoot myself.
Let's see what else is in this clutch. Again, here's just another jag, but you can see the color and just they sort of all had that kind of look.
See, and that's the thing is so you look at that, and obviously people are going to be like, oh, it doesn't have any black. Clearly, it's a super. Right. And it's but you can't jump on that train because caramel is variable, caramel jag is variable, super caramel jag is variable. Right. Yet you won't know until you prove it. And then when you prove it, how Nick does is he proves his supers and then he breeds his supers together so he doesn't have to worry about anybody else down the road.
Right.
Unless if you want to do that, that's great. It's going to take a lot of animals. And also you're going to have to be willing to ditch one that you raised for 4 years that turned out to not be a super.
Right.
I don't really care because I'd rather sell you an animal and tell you it's a caramel and then have you come back to me years later and say, holy shit, it's a super, than do it the other way. So,
yeah, this was sort of the problem I ran into too, where you were crossing subspecies, where you started to get things that would pop out that would be red. Is it red? Is it a caramel?
Is it red because it's got IJ blood in it?
What, it's kind of nuts. So it was real important for me, with these designer carpets that I was working with and doing that. I know Paul didn't work with any red stuff. I know Nick didn't work with any red stuff. So if I was getting stuff from them, then I could rest pretty easy at night knowing that it's not red from the coastal.
Right.
But you still have the Darwin and the IJ.
And also just because the red didn't get thrown by any of the coastals previously doesn't mean that there would never be a red that gets thrown later. Have I shown you pictures of the zebra jags that I produced with the boy that you sent over here?
No.
I got to send those to you because this was a zebra jag that you produced by crossing your zebra jag to a red tiger.
Yes. Oh, that was my first one of my first clutches.
Yeah. I know he was hatched in my incubator.
Yes.
And then
he came back.
Of it. Yeah, he came back. I bred him to a Delia Scattershot female.
Okay.
And the zebra jags kind of like have a cream color, but I shit you not, inside those little like lightning bolt things that they have are little couple scales of red.
Really?
Yeah. And then 2 of the zebras came out are red.
Really?
Yep.
Well, it's funny you say that. I have a picture. I've talked about this picture. I produced that red zebra.
Yeah.
I want to say that I think it might have been from that jag. I'd have to look, but they're definitely like related at some. You know,
somewhere down the line, somebody did something somewhere. It's like yeah. But,
okay. I was going to show. I think after that point, well, I wanted to show this one because this is just definitely different, and you produced this one, and it's actually the Carpets and Coffee
logo.
And I was really bummed that I talk a lot about like doing a like a ivory type of coastal.
Yeah.
And this one was definitely part of that project, but unfortunately she didn't make it. But she was so unique.
Look at all the black.
Yeah, like I just loved the way she looked. And this was, I believe, you had was the M-Pen stripe.
Yep. Yeah. She was an M-Pen. She was the M-Pen caramel stock. Yep.
I definitely like how
because they all had that weird kind of head pattern. It looked like an M. That's so weird.
I just loved how it wasn't orange. It was. It's almost like Xanthic kind of almost, or like ivory, or like that kind of like.
It's so weird because you can see the influences from her father because she has so much tipping as she gets in the back, and then her back is just. It's just black with little dots.
That's what I'm saying.
It looks like I colored her with a Sharpie before I brought her to you.
It's like two different animals. Together. Yeah, look at that loop right underneath.
I love
her,
that. I love that.
Yeah.
That's the problem, dude, is I can sit there like I'm going through babies downstairs and I earmark a lot of babies when they hatch, and then I kind of start whittling them away and letting a couple go and letting these ones stay. And this way I can be like, you're the holdback, not you, kind of a deal.
Right.
There's a caramel zebra, right? Caramel granite
zebra.
Jeez. See, I was correct everywhere. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez. Yeah. I really like, I lost that girl too.
That's an insane pattern.
She had that heart thing.
Yeah. What was wasn't there that baby that was born that like you could see its heart and you were like, whoa, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think what are we doing here? I was looking for, which I can't find. I can't believe I can't find the wait, it must be in my I'll look in the finder real quick.
Yeah.
But I did one of the cool ones that I enjoyed was I did a caramel, the caramel zebra jag to a citrus tiger, my main girl.
Yeah. Yep.
That was actually, how we always talk about the one clutch, the one egg clutch.
Yeah. It was
this was the one egg clutch. I should share this one too because it's this is the caramel zebra male that came in, so you can see what a difference the two of them.
So you were able to take caramel and kind of add it to a bunch of different stuff, which people have, and I will say that other people, there have been refinements and there have been people that stuck with it. Mike Cross comes to mind. He has some great super caramel stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ. Look at that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of pattern.
Yeah.
It looks almost like camouflage. Like,
right.
Yeah.
Just much darker tones,
There's a lot of, we say this all the time, is when you hatch out a clutch of carpets, and it's almost like if it's a base morph, you can go in so many different directions with it. It's insane. Yeah. And I'll tell you that I've produced so many caramels, none of them are the same. Like, none of them are alike. I have a female right now that's getting ready to go. Her next year will be her first year, and she looks just like her mother, but add more black.
Okay.
Who was like my original? I'm talking like my original coastal caramel. So, and then I have my younger ones that I'm growing up where there's like barely any pattern on them at all. And then now I'm kind of doing more super caramels, less super caramel jags, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I have more super caramel stuff, and I'm more willing to hold back a non-jag, but I think in the next couple of years I'm going to have to make some more super caramel jags just cause. Jesus Christ, that's a zebra. A super zebra. Super caramel. Oh my God.
So this was another one I produced that I held back.
Thank God.
Yeah. I still have this snake, actually.
Yeah.
I still have her. Jesus. I don't know what I'm going to do with her.
I don't know what else here.
But it's cool to have. She has a good tail.
That is the weird part. She has a complete tail.
Yeah.
Wow.
She still has that curl that they kind of have, but her tail is
piggy tail.
There. Yeah. And then I forgot that, so as you were doing that stuff, right? Probably the craziest one I hatched out, which this was the one I was like, what the fuck is this thing?
Oh yeah. The what the fuck is that thing? It's a caramel.
It's a caramel, possible super caramel. Granite, zebra, jag.
The fuck?
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like you have this. It looks like you're super, and then you somehow like sprinkled it with pepper.
Yeah.
Jesus.
That one is actually in the more complete carpet python book. I was pretty happy with that one.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, was one of those snakes, just freaking rock solid. Just was going along and then just rolled, just out of nowhere. The one I did sell to in that same clutch, I got these, which didn't have the jag. And Dave Palumbo actually has one of these.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's the granite caramel zebra.
Okay.
Without the jag.
That's so weird.
They were pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you can definitely see what the jag does do. It really intensifies that yellow,
Yeah.
But
so I did send you over on Facebook. It's 3 pictures of a jaguar, a super caramel jag. One is her as a hatchling, one is here as a yearling, one is her as a 4-year-old.
Okay.
And you can kind of see
the one where it's the 3 pictures together?
Yep, 3 pictures together. So like you can kind of see the progression of what you were looking at as one hatchling, yearling, 4-year-old.
Okay, so let's look at the hatchling first. Hopefully I do this right.
If I need to, I can send it to you again.
This one. Okay. So that's the hatchling?
That is her as a hatchling. Yep. Straight out of the egg.
Yeah. So no black.
No black.
Gray worm.
Gray kind of worm thingy. You can see that you can see the jag pattern. Obviously, she's the jag.
Sure.
And you can't even see, like a lot of times on jags when they're babies, you can see kind of the hints of where the blacks are going to come in or the black scales are going to come in. You can't really see that on her at all. Maybe a couple around her head, but later on you kind of don't. So that's her as a hatchling straight up. I think that's like day 1, maybe even post shed, but
yeah, I know how you are about.
I know you have to wait. You
have to wait.
You wait. Don't you make decisions that they're just going, look, show it to me again in a year. That is her at, I think, 2 years old.
Wow. So this snake, real orange, but what's interesting to me is the black
is just
outlines going down her back. Like it's almost like a bald back, but at the top,
it's got a stripe. It's got like a racing stripe.
Orange. Wow, that is wild.
Yeah, she was so weird. I loved her, and she's got black on her head, but then you see the speckling has appeared in various places around the saddles. She's got like 1 or 2 black scales like per saddle. And then she just got these black tip scales that trace her back stripe.
That is cool.
Yeah.
That is really cool.
And she was so weird. So that was her at 2 years old. And I think there's another picture of her. The last picture of her is 4, which was the year I was going to breed her, but then we found out she had cancer.
Oh, man.
So
that happens a lot.
Yep. That's her at 4.
Wow. Okay.
So you see the black around her head, and the tracing of the stripe, is kind of dulled down a little bit. It's kind of went away, But
could you still see it? I know, like in person, could you still see the difference between the two? Okay,
mm-hmm.
Similar to like a poplin python has the two pad, like has the stripe down the middle.
Yep.
Okay.
You saw how I thought she had eggs. Look at her. Look how she said.
Yeah, I know. Holy shit!
I was so mad.
Did she grab it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's something in there. Yeah. Oh God, I was pissed.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
No, it was. Yeah.
So what's this other one that's like orange almost? This is the one that's actually on the MP caramel.
So that would probably be. Let me see
shot.
All right. So that is her. That is a different one.
Okay.
So that's a completely different one. This is, I took one of the Jag boys and bred it to my original caramel female, and she popped out. 1, 2, 3, it's like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna say 9, like 20, 10, maybe
11, 12. It looked like
like 20 black scales, and that's it.
20 black scales. Yeah.
Yep.
Other than that, holy shit.
Fortunately, she ended up dying before she hit 2, which really sucked because I had plans for her to mix her with the Xanax stuff. Right. But I ended up doing other things. Like I took my super caramel to my Xanax stuff and I produced, those guys, which I sent you one of the babies from the caramel Xanax. He's the one who's all tight, round, facing, he's looking down.
Is it the stripe looking one?
No, one before.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
So this one is head Xanax.
Yes.
So let's talk about the head Xanax. Like, what was your experiences when you started to mix in the Xanax?
I wish
you're sort of doing the opposite of what you're supposed to be.
Right.
Taking away the yellow.
Right. So he is a head Xanax. He's a super head Xanax. I wish I had done more refinement with the supers before I started messing around with Xanax stuff. My experience with mixing Xanax stuff has always been again, it's starting the wheel all over again. So my first couple caramel head Xanax, they looked like, maybe a little bit cleaner caramels. Like they didn't look like anything you'd kind of write home about. See if I have one here I can send to you. Nope, that's not her. But it was the next iteration is the one that kind of hit home. So this is the next phase of that one. So the first, I'll pull up a quick photo of one of my first Carmelite Xanax. His mother, I got a picture of her.
Okay.
That kind of shows you what I'm talking about. There's a lot of snake folders. It's just
I know.
So many snake folders and so many snake things. So this is a picture. Actually, it's a good picture because it's actually his mom. So this is his mom, the same age as him.
Oh, okay. Let me put this up here real quick. Let's get this.
So again, it's just like the normal caramel stuff, but you can see it's a little bit. It's off. It's different.
Yes.
So that's his mother at the same age.
Yeah, it's like I guess if I were to describe it, it doesn't have as much orange in the saddle. Mm-hmm. It has more of a red tone mm-hmm. to it, and the black is definitely darker.
Yeah.
And the base color is more. Well, it's taking the yellow out.
it's almost like khaki. Like it's like a weird beige. Like it's kind of like that. So mixing the two of them together, because I did breed brother to sister on this one. I got that guy you just saw. That was the male from. That's the male holdback from that year.
Oh, I got you.
And then see if I can get you the female. Because I got plans for them, I can assure you of that.
Well, I would hope so.
Yeah, those are those ones I think I'm going to stick around with. But
so, are you how do you envision what that end goal is going to look like?
The end goal for that was going to be the caramel jag. The caramel exanic jag kind of deal, that guy.
Right.
So that's her daughter. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
So that's the holdback female, and you'll see why she's a holdback female.
Oh yeah, you can already see she still has that color, but way more of the orange.
Right. Look. It's like it's clean. It's like I've replaced one color on her, but now we're getting back to the orange caramel stuff is taking over other parts. So that's her. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
that's a nice one.
Yeah.
And I do like how the orange at the top of the first top of the body almost looks like the base color.
Yeah.
And the base color is in the saddles.
Yep.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
Beige, and it's like, it's gorgeous. So
and then it kind of changes. And you can see going down the side, I know it's not in focus perfectly, but you can sort of see where it's that cuts off at that I guess where you would say the side striping would come in.
Yep. So the idea for her is to cross her with what I produced this year, which was the caramel exanic jag boy.
Okay.
So the two of them will eventually go together. But for the male, I have some other caramel females that I'll cross them to. So we'll figure it out. But the end game result for that is just to see kind of where I can improve it, where I can keep stacking on. I'd like to see how I can kind of enrich that orange and kill the black.
Yeah.
So that's the idea next, is to do that. And then also, let's add that orange to a jag. Let's see some jag base color stuff with that. Let's see what we can kind of muck with that. So it helps that the boy is the jag that I hatched is pink right now, and he shouldn't be. He's pinkish silver, and I'm like, whatever's going on here, dude.
Yeah,
keep going. So.
Yeah, I would like to, as far as caramel stuff goes for me now, I'm sort of working with, so I did, let me back up real quick.
Yeah.
I wanted to show the one egg snake, the one egg clutch snake. So this was a citrus tiger caramel.
Yep.
Zebra jag.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can't really see it in this picture, but a lot of the sides, it's kind of, you can kind of see it. It's kind of out of focus a little bit, but these sides, you could definitely see where the saddles of the citrus tiger influence was coming in, but it was empty, the saddle, if that makes sense. It was outlined in black and orange, but it was the portal is the same color as the base. So it kind of gives this really kind of weird, kind of goofy effect.
The zebra jags downstairs. Imagine this guy with that kind of light color that he's got on his side all over. And then instead of caramel with those little zigzags, red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts.
The other thing
I love this kind of shit. Look at that.
I always thought was crazy was the it's like the nostrils here,
nostril,
but then there's
and then a
fake
nostril.
and he has it on both sides.
Yeah.
I
love that.
Pretty cool. But yeah, that was my one egg.
Your one egg clutch. Yep.
I sold that snake. I wonder where it's at this point.
There were a couple I wish that I hadn't sold, and a couple I wish I knew where they were. I remember I sold one possible super caramel jag at like Tinley Park. And like she was so clean. Like, and I think I used a picture of her. I'm slowly getting around to redoing my website. Things are crazy right now, but I have I'm using her as like a placeholder for a picture. I'm like, God damn, that thing was beautiful. Why did I sell that thing? So
yeah, this was the only clutch I did of so this is interesting. That was just a regular caramel. I think I had
the other thing is that,
but that was the clutch where I did caramel jag to caramel. But this was the weird thing about this clutch. This was the one where they were pipping out of the egg, and so this is 2015.
Right,
the pipping out of the egg, and I remember that I sort of would leave them until they all kind of hatched out. I would leave them in the egg box and then move them to a bin, and then they would shed.
A couple jags in there.
Separate them out. Yeah, there was a couple. I think as far as jags go, I mean, this one was pretty nice. This was probably the nicest one of the clutch that I had. I did not hold anything back from this. I think I actually wholesaled this clutch, but
I love how people give flack for wholesaling. It's like, I had this much to do and this much time and also like whatever, but you almost got to cherry pick. You got to pick the ones that you want to put your time into, and it's a lot. So
I think I kind of felt at the time, I mean, you and Nick were really the caramel people. I felt,
dude,
and it's like, why am I going to try to?
This is the thing. You go on my website right now. There is a female caramel jag,
right,
that is sitting on my website, that has been sitting on my website for forever. And
maybe after this episode, she won't.
All I do is get people who are like, available, have pick parent, ghost. And it's like, she is gorgeous. And she's got very reduced pattern starting from her back. And you know what? If she doesn't sell, I'll freaking keep her.
Yeah.
Like, it's.
I think the thing with these, you can see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 perfect bands.
Jeez.
Which is kind of weird because the rest of her pattern is just like craziness, chaos, band, chaos,
organized, not organized. Yeah. Stripes.
I thought that one was interesting. Yeah. But anyway, what I was saying with the clutch, it was that one where I never even thought about covering the eggs until they hatched out. And what had happened is I had this beautiful, because the mom was, this was the reduced pattern mom. She, it would look like that. Like, to me, if I was going to hold one back, it would be this. And you can see, like, in the clutch, there's a lot of the bands. This is very bandy clutch, not stripy. And I think that's kind of why I wholesaled it. I was like, I kind of like stripes, not bands. But anyway, the snake shot out of the egg and died.
Yeah,
I remember talking to Rob. I'm like, Rob, what the hell? What is going on? And he was like, that's where I got my. Once they start pipping, maybe cover it with a paper towel, like a damp paper towel, so that they
leave the egg box
feel a little more secure.
We're all excited to look at them, but don't freak them out, because if they cut and run, they can hurt themselves.
Yeah.
That's why if you remember when my white lips hatched, like 2 of them were out of the egg immediately. And I'm like, no, I didn't mean it. But they were fine. So,
this is where I'm going with the caramel stuff.
Nice.
Again, going back to my citrus tiger roots. This is a citrus tiger, but with caramel. This is the one I held back. I think Riley has maybe 1 or 2 of them. Maybe I think he has 1 of them. That I sent to him. But Yeah, I don't know. I kind of like the look. I thought it would be cool to mess with and see what happens. And,
it is. The good thing about
it's
caramel,
different,
right?
you know.
And the good thing about a caramel is that if you're trying to set up a project to build,
yeah,
there's lots of room to build with it. And I find that it's easier and more fun for me to play in house than it is to go out and get other people's stuff. Like I'm producing my own stuff and I'm crossing it together and making my own supers and making my own this and all this other stuff, rather than going out and being like, I have a tiger and what I need to do is go get another tiger so I can produce more tigers. Right. It's like I have a pair of caramels and I can do stuff with that. And then I can take a baby from this clutch. I can separate the parents and have them come back together. And I can take a baby from this clutch and a baby from this clutch, combine them and make more and do that. It's kind of like weaving in and out. And it's, as long as everything's got a caramel base, it doesn't really matter too much, like how much you want to play with. Like I could always like the M-Pen caramel stripe that I produced this year. I'm keeping him. I can use him in a caramel stripe clutch with his sister. I can use him with needle to make super caramel tiger jags. I can breed him to a straight normal tiger to produce some really nice caramel tigers. I can breed him to my super caramel het exanic to do God knows what. There's a lot of different rooms to play with this kind of stuff. And I was going to take his father next year and breed him to a caramel female that is not striped, not there. But then it's like, all right, so maybe I produce a really good looking super caramel there. Mm-hmm. And because her father is striped, then there's abilities to use her for things too. It's almost like you lay the groundwork for later projects, later stuff.
Sure. So. Yeah. I guess really I have I have a caramel female. I have a couple few that was caramels that I have.
If you want caramel shit, just come over and start like just do what I used to do. Just come over with a piece of tape and just start sticking it on the end.
Start marking it.
Out of my hand. Yeah, it's just
the one I'm excited about is my girl. I got her knowing I just love the way she looked, knowing that the hassle that I'm going to deal with. But I gave you the hypo, and I took the hypo caramel female.
My God.
That snake is insane.
You're like, and this is her on an off day. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
So I want to take that to Tiger.
So basically so I have him to produce hypo tigers so that you can grab a boy to go with her.
Yes.
Okay. That makes sense. See? You build from within, Excellent. You know what's hilarious is that I'm doing that work with two animals that I got from you. So you could have done this all in-house.
I could have. Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. I had that moment with Francis the other day where I'm like, wait, why are you breeding two of my animals together at your house? Because they're here. All right, fair enough. Wait, why are you? Those are both mine. I don't. All right, fine. Fuck it. I don't care.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what's come out recently is, now that we have the hypo, there are quite a few people working within the States and stuff. And caramel and the hypo.
The other thing is that way back when we couldn't get hypo. So
yes.
There was Sunglow, and now that's not Sunglow, and there was Ghost. It's not Ghost. So when I say Ghost, what I mean is Caramel Exanic. And when I say Sunglow, what I mean is Caramel Albino. So I actually have, which it's weird because I finally am now clicking, I have Caramel Albinos, which, again, 2009 Owen would have killed for this shit. Like it is.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, weird how that happened.
Right.
But
and you're like, what is this shit?
Yeah. Look at it. Doesn't look at the other ones. So it's now that hypo is here, people, I think, once hypo hit the ground, people started to kind of overlook caramel because it was like, well, caramel.
I was going to bring this up. Yeah,
it's just the poor man's hypo, which I mean, they do work with each other, and you can kind of do different stuff with it. And there was always the sliding scale of your prettiest super caramel is going to be your ugliest hypo, and I kind of disagree with that. They almost seem like they're two bases. Looking at the hypo boy here and looking at super caramels that are the same age as him or same size, they definitely diverge. The hypo boy does not have a black scale on him. I will admit this.
Right.
But he has dark,
yes,
colored scales, so you can still see a pattern in him.
Yes.
And then the super caramel has bright color, but there are black scales. So it's like, I don't know. So
I think why the one that I showed looks so extreme because you know, it's you got these two genes that are sort of working
together.
It's like you're trying to get rid of the black in the caramel or reduce it, right? The hypo reduces the black, but it doesn't really intensify the color too much.
Right.
It will, with breeding and selective breeding and some of the, like the hypo tiger that Paul posted up the other day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Holy fuck.
Disgusting.
I'm like, again, not necessarily being a crazy into morphs as I was, say 10 years ago. Still, that snake stops me in my
still
tracks.
hits a chord.
Just
yeah.
I would love to produce that type of animal.
Am I going to take out a large credit card to go purchase it? Probably not. But
no.
Will I add it if later, if 5 years down the road somebody's like, you want a hypo tiger for this much? Yes, please. Like, I'll add it. Or you know what? I will make my own. If you don't think that out of that clutch of hypo tigers that hatches here, I'm not going to be like, and you, and you, and you.
Yes, exactly.
Like, no.
Yeah. And, I think like, to me, I know you got the difficulty of trying to figure out what's hypo, what's caramel,
right.
this kind of thing and all that. And sure, that, I guess that's going to be a thing. But it would be fun to experiment. And like, I'm not worried about like, I have to get, I could possibly sell it. I mean, I don't know. What do you think about that? If I were to sell them, knowing what they are.
First off, you're saying this weird thing about like you selling snake. Yeah, that keeps saying those words, and I'm not sure where that's coming from. But,
coming from?
Yeah. Anyway, I think if you're going to do a project like that, it comes down to it is that's a project you hang on to everybody, and you wait to see who develops, how they develop.
Sure.
And then it's one of those I will sell to a friend behind closed doors because I can sit down and tell you everything that's going on. Yeah, this is what's going on. This is what it is. I'm not 100% sure. Don't go run around telling people that I told you this and this much. That is not what I fucking said. So
didn't that happen to you multiple
times? Yes, it happened several times where I had to browbeat somebody who was like, it's a jag, and I know because I got it from Owen, and I'm like, the hell I did say that. I'm like, that is not a jag. That's not a tiger jag. Its mother is a tiger jag, but this is nothing. Right. Yeah.
I think it was at like a Hamburg show or something. And then they posted it. I was like, I don't know, bro. You might want to check this out.
I don't think you want to. Yeah. Jesus Christ. And that's the thing is that you can tell people. You can tell people to be blue in the face. Like, yes.
Give them a zip drive with the information
it doesn't
on
fucking
it.
Matter. It doesn't fucking matter.
Emails with the pictures of the parents. Yeah.
Oh God, what is it? The worst one is I sold some guy HCQs, and he's like, I'm like, they're coastal jungle crosses at best. There's something like they're HCQs. There's something completely different. Just say they're HCQs. and he posted them up for sale, and he's like jungle carpets. I'm like, no. And this is my second or third run out with HCQ. So they were yellow and black, and I'm like they looked like muddy jungles, not jungles like we have today, not the yellow and black that we're used to. They looked like muddy jungles at the time, and I'm like, you can't say that. Someone's gonna freaking believe you, and they're gonna buy it, and they're gonna cross. Like, you can't do that. And he's like, yeah, I got it. And then the ad got taken down, and I'm not 100% sure it's because he took it down because I told him not to, or he sold it. Yeah, exactly. I don't.
No, it's always the fear. You can't control it one day your hand.
Well, and that's why if you look at my website, everything is a POS. It's a POS super.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to, first off, and I'm not going to charge you over, like, this one could be a super. I go by, this snake looks this pretty. This is how much this pretty snake costs. It's like, you look at tigers on my website, it's like, this is a completely striped, bright, freaking gorgeous tiger. It is going to be more expensive than the ones that have breaks or have not great striping or something like that. So caramel is the same way. If I think it is a pretty caramel, I will charge you this much for it. Now, if you go home and years later raise it up and breed it and are shocked that it's a super, good for you. Good, like, yes.
You'd rather err on the side of.
I'm so happy that you bred it and it is a super. Good for you. Like, I don't care. It'd be the other way. I'd be pissed is that if you came back to me and said, I paid super caramel prices for this, and now I'm like, nope. So,
are there any markers?
None. Not a goddamn thing.
Nothing. Okay.
Some people like to say that they get brighter caramel color on their neck, and that proves that they're a super. To which I say, when you look at a baby that's developing, the color starts at like the back of the head. Like, they start getting brighter here, and then it kind of bleeds to the rest of their body. So I don't want to sit there and say that's a definitive marker, because then people are going to be like, clearly that's what it is. I would say that there's exceptions to every rule. And if it's got pretty, really nice, bright caramel color by the side of its neck, then it has pretty nice caramel color by the side of its neck. That's it.
Gotcha.
Breed it, prove it, you're good.
Right. Yeah, I think about I worry about that a little bit, but obviously I'm not afraid to hold stuff back. But
somebody sent me an email last week about they had heard that there's a marker for genetic striped bredli, which I don't know. I never worked with genetic striped bredli. Like, I don't believe so, but I don't know.
No,
now,
there is a mark for stonewashed.
Yes, but what they were saying is there's a genetic marker for stripe, and does stonewash mess with the genetic marker for stripe?
No, I don't.
I don't know.
I'm aware of.
Well, I don't know, because this is the bullshit. There was always some guy who would come onto the MP forums and be like, I figured it out. I know the marker for granite, and I am not going to tell any of you. And we're like, wait, what is it? I will not tell any of you, but I know what it is. Like,
that guy?
I don't know, but everybody's like, fuck you, dude. Like, it was just...
Everybody hated that guy. I remember him.
That was a big,
he would show up like every 6 months.
There's always one dude that shows up and is like, I know the answer.
Like, scrolling,
Yeah, it's just... I have bred bullens in my garage. Bullshit. Shut up.
Oh, that was great. Nick would come on and crush him, and then Sean would come in and be the sort of arbitrator
guys,
of like, come on, settle down.
Back
like,
to your
you
cages.
Don't know shit.
Yeah. I know it, and I'm not telling any of you because it doesn't exist. It's like, okay.
Remember they used to say that the lavender, if it was lavender, that you could sort of say that it was head granite, and then they found out that that's sort of an IJ
bullshit.
thing. You're just like,
bullshit.
No, that's bullshit.
It is bullshit. Yeah. that's the problem. Is I don't want to sit there and say that there's a definitive marker, because I don't think there is, because the animals are so variable and they're completely different. It's like I don't know.
Yeah, it's
breed it. Just breed it and see what you get.
Especially, it seems, with out of all the carpets that I've bred, jungles, carpets, or jungles, coastals, Darwins, IJs. I find that the coastals are the most variable.
Yes. Yep.
I think that you may have seen that before in the jungles, but like you don't really see. Jungles have become so uniform at this point.
They're all the same. I mean,
the
bloodlines are so mixed.
Yeah. It's kind of like, Jeremy from he does the Jeremy's he does that podcast Inside the Coils, is it called?
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, he produced a clutch of jungles, and I was telling him it's like old school Andrew Hare
jungles,
looking tipped out jungles.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, people are going to go insane for these things. And he's like, I sold them all already. I was like,
there you go.
There's people out there, old school Andrew Hare, fans of these jungles. And they're just like, give me that. So he has some holdback. He picked out pretty good ones.
But that's the thing, dude. It's like when you had a pair of jungles and you had a black and yellow, bright Andrew Hare animals, and then you lost the boy. And then it's like, all right, well, Andrew Hare doesn't have any jungles right now, and you're walking through a reptile show and somebody's got a bright black and yellow jungle male that's ready to roll.
Yeah.
You buy it. And then you 100%. Chuck it in with your female, and you don't know that that's a Reptilicus line or whatever. You don't give a shit. It's a black and yellow. It's going to go great. And you know what? The babies look phenomenal. They look black and yellow. It's like,
sure.
How many times can we keep repeating it before it's like everything's black and yellow? Like, yes. I love that I have produced animals that I've kept because they reminded me something about their parents or their grandparents.
Sure.
And then as they've grown, they look fucking nothing like them. Like, oh man, this is like little mini Venus. Nope. Like, okay, like 4 years later, it's like, that is a completely different critter. Like it is. And that's happened multiple times.
100%. Yeah, it's crazy. But, like I said, the coastal carpets to me are always, every time you get this like crazy one in the clutch, you're just like, what is going on here?
There is always one in every clutch that you're just like, the hell. And then I love it because, and this is what I live for. This is the whole thing, dude, is that give it 3 months.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you look at them again, and that one that you were like, what the hell, has either now skyrocketed or leveled out.
Right.
And then there's one over here that you kind of had your eye on.
Right.
That just is either that is totally different, like completely different. And you're like, holy shit. Like, oh, okay. Nope, you are the holdback now. I star the cards of ones that I'm going to keep. Okay. Ones that I have my eye on.
Okay.
And then when they graduate beyond the whole like star thing, they get a cage card with like a picture on it and stuff like that.
Okay.
There have been multiple times where it's like, here's the one with the star on it.
Right.
And that's like female number 1. But female number 4 is the one that gets the cage card with the picture on it.
Right.
Because it's like, I usually when I go through a clutch, it's like number 1 is what I think is the most interesting.
Okay.
Number 2, number 3, number 4. It's like if it's got a low number, it's because it caught my eye first and it's the pretty one. And I want to make sure I know where it is. It's weird because sometimes it's just like as they develop, it's like, no, this one, I like this better, or I like how this is shaping up better. This one eats like it's going out of style, and now it's like it's growing and it's really looking good. And this one looks great if you want like this kind of a stripe, but I'm not like going for that. I want this one. So it is really kind of your own little sandbox of what to do. And Caramel just lets you do all this other stuff. Is it the Caramel Exanic Jag?
Okay.
One of its brothers is a super caramel jag.
Okay.
But didn't get the Exanic. Like it didn't click on there. So he got another part of it.
Okay.
And he looks gorgeous. Like he's very reduced pattern. But it's funny because after that are some other ones that are these heavily banded super caramel things that don't necessarily look like any of my other super caramels because the patterns are just like there's no spacing. It's just bands. Just I'm talking like heavy bands.
Right.
And I'm like, that's something else. Like if I wanted to take that, I could, but I don't want to. Well,
gotcha.
Maybe I don't. Well, so it's all that shit in the air.
Right.
You got to try to figure it out.
This has nothing to do with caramel, right? But as you're saying, I'm going to pull this picture up real quick. As it looked like the father, and I held back this pair, and I have to do an updated picture. This is Balin's Red Tiger stuff, right?
Yes. Look at all the tipping.
The pepper.
Look at all the oh my goodness.
So when I look at this, which I'm sure I should probably send it to Balin because I'm sure he would be happy.
He would. It looks like his boy, dude.
Yes, right?
Yeah, there was that red tri-stripe male that was in everything.
Yes, I gotta find it. I gotta find that.
You gotta find that boy. Yeah.
The picture of the boy.
That was Talon's father, that red tri-stripe boy.
So oddly enough, this clutch, these are the only two I held back, and it's because of this reason, right? But both of them have this same look, and first of all, they're fucking feisty as hell.
They're horrible creatures.
They are feisty, man. And I saw them. Here it is. Yes. Okay. So that is the baby. And then that is the what would he be? The great.
Yeah.
The grandfather.
Great grandfather. I mean, the amount of animals that came from this kid is got to be insane because that's Talon's father. And then he was the father of all those red tigers that we got in the early aughts. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 07.
And then
I call it the 07 clutch.
07 clutch that you and I bought mostly.
Most of it.
Yeah. And then I produced red tigers from the female and male that I got from that group. And then I also bred him to, I think I bred Jags out of that animal has so many other animals linked back to it.
And just like, it's just,
I love it. Look at all of it.
It's so great, man.
Great.
And it hasn't gone away yet. And it's like extreme compared to him, but that's the look it reminds me of. And I was like, I think I'm going to make pepper tigers.
I love it. Pepper tigers. Yes.
Okay.
I fully support this. That and Balin just wants you to give up Molly. Let's be honest.
No, that's not going to happen.
Because
Molly 2.0 is insane.
Yeah. I love how I came over to pick out a tiger, an animal from that group, and you were like, you may choose from these, but I know. I said those. So I'm like, okay.
Yes, please. Let me take this one.
No, let me take that. No, you're not allowed to have the strap, but I want the strap. I don't care.
Molly 2.0. So I don't know. I was going to breed Molly again this year, and I could have, but I kind of felt like I really wanted to try to focus on the diamonds.
Yes, please, for the love of God,
right?
Focus on the diamonds.
I wanted to focus
on the Russians,
right?
Diamonds and Russians.
But
anything else, I don't care. Diamonds.
Next year,
Russians.
I will make Molly 2.0, but or maybe 2.1.
I don't know, 3 at this point. I don't. Yeah,
I'm going to breed Molly to that crazy red that I got from Balin.
Yes,
with no jagging it at all. So hoping that I can produce more red tigers, more mollies.
I'm accidentally tripping into a really nice refined red project, and I don't know how I got in there, but somehow I'm in it. It's like, I'm like, wait a minute. It's
how
like,
did this happen?
Yeah, so I got a pair from Buddy, which are 2 really nice red ones. Yeah. Female is kind of going a different direction. She's not, I don't know what she's doing color wise. She's kind of like almost orange, but the male is gorgeous red striped, beautiful.
Right.
And I am going to breed him with the jag I got from you later on.
Okay.
But then also one of the last things that Talon did on this earth was produce this really nice red freckly baby. And the clutch, I told Buddy that I wanted one from the clutch.
Okay.
And he shows me the clutch, and I can kind of tell he's trying to keep the one a little hidden. I'm like, no, I saw it.
I want that one.
I want that one. And that turned out to be Wanda, and Wanda is absolutely beautiful. She's just red and speckly and gorgeous. And I'm like, okay. Like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing here, but somehow I have tripped into some sort of red project. So
yeah, the red stuff. I mean, caramels are cool. A red is cool. Hypo is cool. It's all different directions you can go. You can do all three. I'm kind of working with all three, kind of.
Yeah.
I do think that probably as an.
Yeah, I just sent you a picture of Wanda, the red female. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah.
That's what you're saying.
Why is this here with me? What the hell am I doing?
Yeah.
We should be with Eric Hernandez or someone else who's doing important things. So, yeah.
Let's get the picture of her up there.
Yeah, but it's just like it's kind of like you can. Yeah, she is.
See, the thing I like about the red tigers, and again, it's the same thing I like about the citrus tigers, is down here. Mm-hmm. How you have all that red in the portal, area. That to me, that's just like
I love the head pattern. How it just kind of bleeds, and it doesn't really. It's like it's almost like someone's rubbing the black off of her head, and she's beautiful, gorgeous. No idea what the hell she's doing.
Yeah, man. I think this just makes and redefines when it comes to breeding. Like, obviously, I'm not going to breed like I did 10 years ago. As crazy as I've been or whatever, but I still enjoy breeding, and I do like the breeding projects. But I think, to me, this is the direction I should have went in. I should have went in the tiger direction, because at the time everybody was into jags except for Balin, and he was kind of doing both.
Right.
Mutton wasn't touching tigers.
Jag. Yeah, no,
he didn't have any tigers. And to this date, he didn't have tigers.
He doesn't have any coastal tigers. Yeah.
He doesn't have legit. I know we always talked about.
He has hypos, hypo tigers.
Yeah. But not he doesn't have red and peppered and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
How are you going to stand out? This is just a thought that, think about what it is that you like and just kind of go that direction.
Well, and in this, I think
so many ways you can go with this stuff.
And this, I think, is the reason that a lot of carpet projects here are going to eventually get pushed out.
Yeah.
It's like, do I want to keep, farting around with jungle jag ocelot stuff when this red needs a cage? It's like, sorry, goodbye. Right. It's kind of like I don't need to do that.
I've been there, done
other
that.
People who do more.
It's cool. I've produced some cool stuff and whatnot, but I don't know. It didn't really. Obviously, it didn't stay with me. You know what I mean? I sold it, so obviously, Whereas I'm like you, I would much rather have 5 mollies in a cage, in my room than have,
And here's the thing. That's the first iteration.
Yes.
What happens when I take her and breed her to that red tiger that I have? What the hell is that going to do?
If you learn anything, you've made it to the end of the show.
Yes,
and
congratulations.
This would be
somehow gotten into our ramblings.
Yeah. You can see where. Oh, shit. I got unplugged. Okay, there we go.
You got too excited.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I really did. What I was saying is you can see how Owen and I had visions way back in the days, and you look at the animals that we were working with, and some of them were ugly and dark. Dude, I'm just gonna leave this here, and you can think about where's that picture?
The first reds,
first
caramels and stuff. Yeah,
the first zebra.
We were talking about that the other day. Where the Brinkley zebras.
Yeah.
Where they took it, where Balin took this fugly zebra And,
dude, it was brown.
Brown, exactly. And they bred it to Headhunters Brinkley. And then the problem is that every baby was a 50-50 shot of fugly, gorgeous.
Yes.
Fugly, gorgeous. And that was it.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
And it took them taking those pretty ones, those black and yellows, and breeding them to other black and yellow animals to get zebras to where the point they are now. But those fugly other brown ones were also bred to black and yellow. So it's like it took a while, but yeah. Now I have oh my God. I love my zebra.
Yeah, dude, here it is. Here it is, the picture. Hopefully I can share it here. Hold on.
I can show you my zebra too. It's just like
that's the first zebra into the US.
Yep.
Dude, it's brown.
Yes.
And then you look at like the one that Curtin has.
Hold on.
And the same place that you have.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will be good. Yeah, send that over so we can show people, what a little bit of refinement can do.
I know, right? Let me just, God, what the hell is her name? That's the problem. You have so many.
Yeah. Well, yes, that is true.
That is the there she is. Oh, that's not even a good picture of her. Hold on, I'll do it. I have a better one of her on my phone. But yeah, it's like a little bit of refinement, and everything goes a really, really long way.
Yeah. Pay attention to the other animal you're breeding with, the animal, like AKA Brinkley, and Jesus Christ, man, come on. Like,
Jesus Christ, dude.
What the fuck?
What the hell? Why are you hiding this? I don't know. It's just
yeah. Here we go. It went from that to that.
Yeah, to that. Yeah. Yep. And you know what? That's probably a couple sheds ago. She looks better. Oh, Jesus. There you go. That's her brother.
Oh my God. Oh, you sent another picture?
Yeah, that's her brother.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's sort of what I was saying, man.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking carpets, jungles today is like you no longer have to worry about getting a shitty one because probably more than likely you're not.
It used to be they'd be like, oh man, how do I get the black and yellow? There it is. Like that's what it is.
Yeah, that's nice.
I mean, of course, they're wild line animals that were crossed with a mojo reptiles. Like the refinement was there. That was good in, good out. But you're right. At one point, that zebra that Mike Curtin had, that was that wild line zebra, at one point it traced its lineage back to that guy. Like it was it had the
brown snake.
That's eventually you hit a brown fugly zebra. You had to.
Yes. Always. Yeah. I couldn't I'm gonna have to make like a thing. So let me just remind people again so that they can see it again. That
there he is. Yep, that's him. Yep. Oh my God! Look at how broad the bands are. Like the pattern.
Yeah, man.
He's in with a
dude.
jag.
If you didn't know any better, I saw that in the wild. I would think that might be a coastal carpet pipe.
Yes.
That.
Oh my God.
To that. It's not even the same ballpark.
No. God damn.
Yeah. So that's sort of like I'm into the refining. I think long term that's kind of where it's at. I think about the potential with gelatins, dude.
Right.
That's another project to me. Everybody's worried about the yellow and black, and that's great. I'm not knocking that at all. But like gelatins have so much potential for this exact same thing. I just look at some of the ones that I produced, and Keith was talking to me, and he was saying about how he's going to cut down his collection at some point, and he's like, well, they're breeding this year, and after that, do you want them back? I was like, yes.
Yes, for the love of God.
Yes.
Well, it's funny because it's like I think caramel is definitely one of those morphs that you can have the instant gratification, but it's not going to be as gratifying as the long-term breeding projects. So, you could very easily take a caramel and throw it to whatever coastal you pick up off of the table and get caramels, but you're not going to be as happy as if you take a pair of good-looking caramels and breed them together and get a good-looking super and raise them up and then take the super and breed it back to a jag and to get those and raise them up. It's like the long haul for caramel, I think, is where it pays off in dividends and kind of where you can enjoy it, where you can play. It's not an albino project. No. You breed an albino to a head albino, you get albinos. What do you do after that? It's like, I don't.
Yeah. It's sort of like with me, right? With the citrus tiger, I think that I've always looked at the citrus tiger as the tiger's version of gamma.
Right. Okay.
Right. Meaning that whatever you put them with, they just make them look better.
Right. Right.
You know, and you're not, at this point, you do for the most part get a lot of consistent, but the citrus look doesn't happen throughout the clutch. So that's sometimes when I think people misjudged Will Bird a little bit. Maybe he sort of said it in the wrong way. Like he was saying it was genetic. And then I know he like freaking sunk himself when he started with that red shit, but whatever. It definitely does have a look.
Right.
It's definitely reproducible. What is it? I don't know.
Idea.
But I know it when I see it. I see it. I saw it in your girl that you had that was head albino. Riley has the same look that he has in the head albino. He's produced animals that have that look. I've produced animals from things that look like, to me, it's sort of like, okay, this is sort of where I'm going to focus. I have 2 females that are growing up that are just fucking exact replicas of mom. And like mom, is probably my favorite carpet in my collection because that's where it all started. I don't know, but she's what? She's 2009. So how old is she? She's in her 20s, right?
I mean, she's in her 20s. She could still, I have, Trinity Trinity's in 07. So Trinity is still here and she's still eating and she's still happy and she's still healthy. I don't think I ever want to breed her again because
she's 15.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people will sit there and be like, well, if they're in their teens, they could totally keep breeding. It's like, yeah, but then I'm risking her life for what? 2 eggs? I'd rather her just be happy.
I think, I'm the same way. I think I might try one more clutch with her.
If you've had her for 15, 16 years and you haven't produced her replacement by now, the fuck have you been doing? It's
no, I have.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I have them in the thing, but it's kind of like I don't know. I think because I've given her off for the past.
You can do one more year. Just understand that.
That's it.
They're the risks, and then if that's it, then that's it, and then set her up. I mean, I have several of Trinity's kids kicking around here. I have to look back, and you lose track on who's who and where's where and what's what.
Yeah,
who plugs into where. I have on the cage cards who mom and dad are of every carpet that stayed here, and it's like, and now I've also have slots for who grandma and grandpa are and stuff like that. And it's hilarious to look at some of them and I'm like, you're that one's kid? Weird. Like, I don't remember doing that breeding.
Yeah.
Like, all right, that was that year. It's like, so
that's what I was going through when I was looking through for this episode, just looking back. Like,
wow, I can't look back. I can't look. I can't go through.
I produced this. What? Wait,
yeah,
what?
I can't go through like 3, 4, 5 years ago when I let this animal go, or I sold this thing, and I'm like, oh God, or I produced this, and so.
Yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of I guess that's it. We're over 2 hours now at this point. We've been rambling. We get excited.
Caramels, they're fun.
Caramels,
we should get more. Yeah.
Yes. Do you have any available?
I have several. Right now,
so if people are interested,
right now on the website, I know I have 2 caramel Jags from I think last year or 2 years ago. They're 2022s, I think. I have 2 2022s, and that's from I mean, they're absolutely gorgeous. I don't know why they're still here, but it's just the female especially. And then I have the M-Pen caramel stripes up on my website too. And some caramel albino stuff. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I got lots of caramel shit. Stuff. Yeah.
What is that one? What is this carpet?
Oh, that's a jungle stripe mix thing that I picked up from Billy Hunt in a trade.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never saw that snake.
Yeah, okay. No. And then I bred him to make the ocelot kids because it's a mix already. Why not? So, yeah.
Very nice.
I know. Look at it.
Looking for red lie.
I got a couple.
Look at you.
Not a lot, but I got them. I got there's your boy.
There's my boy.
Yeah. There he is. There his kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
See.
There's your girl. You're like, I contributed to half the fucking things here. Yes, that is true. So
yes. Very well. Oh, look. Wait.
Yeah, there's a tie. It's another one.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. Wait, okay. How many pairs did you not contribute to? Like, wait.
Wow. Okay.
I think I made the caramels. So
no, that's all you.
Right? Yeah, that was all mine. Yeah, I did that.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Jesus. Very good. You got quite a number of
dude. It's so many. And then the stonewash. You did that one too. Yeah.
Oh, is that the boy?
That's your boy. Yeah. That's the boy. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. There he is.
Wow. Yeah. That one is nice, Emma.
Yeah, that was the one I got from Lucas.
What's her steal?
She is a double het stonewash and het stripe that I got from Lucas. And
holy shit, that's a nice bread line.
Oh, she's gorgeous. She's phenomenal.
And look at that.
She produced some good looking kids. Yeah. There's a lot of stonewash, which stonewash itself, dude, I wasn't prepared for how variable that is. Where it's like I have some that are heavy patterned stonewash, and then I have other ones where it's like it's a little bit by the neck, and then that's it. I'm like, what the hell?
This one's extreme.
Yeah. They're nice. They're not. Yeah. They're growing. Really they're nice, eating. Man. They're starting to put on size. So stonewashes are fun. Yeah. Oh no!
Too far.
Yeah, get it. No. Nobody look at those. Actually,
we've gone. Not Jared.
I mean, I do need to sell a few, but
right. Okay.
Yours are already set aside. They're over there. Your name's on them. Yeah. So.
All right. Let's close it out. So yeah, that's caramels. If you're interested, you know who to go to.
Goddamn right.
And do you have caramels breeding this year?
No
caramels this year.
No, okay. We're not. No, I was told by a very wise man who's bald and has gauged ears and tattoos all over his body, who said, "Stop it, you idiot." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So, thank you, wise Mike
man.
Curtin. Yeah, wise man. Yeah, so
yes, a little hobbit tribe, but he doesn't have the ages.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, no, you don't have this Zen Buddha like thing that Mike Curtin brings to the table. Wow. Actually, Mike and I had a conversation last year when I was at the height of my hatchings and was barely holding everything together. He's like, okay, do not breed a single thing that you have produced this year. And I'm like, what about? And he said, not a single thing you have produced this year. I'm like, okay.
Right.
So I am not doing a single thing that I produced in 2023. With the exception of trying to get the roughies again. But that's fine. That's fine. It's allowed.
That's different. Yes.
Yeah. Right. But no, I'm not doing any caramels. The only carpet clutch I have is Hypo to the Tiger.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's allowed. You didn't do that last year.
Yeah, I didn't do that I didn't do that last year. And then White Lips, I didn't do that last year. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then I'm not breeding olives because I have too many. So yeah. No caramels this year. Next year, I will have caramels. I just have to figure out what. So, yep.
Well, you do have some still there. So if you want some,
I do.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So next episode, we're going to be talking with David Brahms, and we're going to be talking about Manokwari locality stuff. So
Manokwari locality carpet.
No. Green trees.
No. See, you did this. It's like Chondro show, and then I'm like, and then you're like, look, caramels, and I'm like, yay, and then you're like, Chondro show.
Very strategic. Very strategic. Very strategic.
I can't have two Chondro shows back to back. I'm throwing a caramel on that'll shut them up. Yeah.
The show after that is Student of the Serpent, and we're talking Owen Pellet Python.
See, you're very good at this. Yeah, okay. I see what you're doing. All right. I'm on to you.
We got Silver Pepper Inland show lined up. That'll be cool.
Oh, all right. I like that.
Pop One Roundtable lined up.
See, again. Again.
Pop One Carpet Roundtable.
Stick, carrot.
Pygmy Python Roundtable.
I don't know what to do with those things. It's so small.
Yes. But yeah, there you go. So we got that. Shit, I left off my show.
I turned it all off. Yeah.
Yeah. We got where are we at? Okay. So if you want to support the show, you can subscribe to us on the socials. Morelia Python Radio, there's MPR Network. And if you want to help the show out, just share and subscribe to the show either on YouTube or whatever podcast app you use. We have a couple affiliate links and stuff that you can support the show that way. We got Cold Blooded Caffeine, where we do the Carpets and Coffee blend. If you hit our link down below and use the code MPR10, get 10% off your order. And we get a little kickback if you use our link, which is awesome.
Going to go downstairs and brew up another gallon of cold brew with the Carpets and Coffee blend.
Yeah.
It is delicious.
It's quite delicious, yes. Yeah. And then we have Cold Blooded Cafe. MPR 10 also will take 10% off your first order. Yep. But you watch them over there.
Follow them on their social medias because they have a lot of different sales and stuff going on, and they do ask for customer feedback of what they should breed, what they should have, what they should use, all that fun stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Check out our, like I said, if you listen to the show and you want to see some pictures, now that Owen has shared with me a zillion pictures, it's going to take me probably a little bit, but it's a work in progress. But you can go over and check out our Morph section and you can see some of the things we're talking about. If you take it for and you want to see the video version of the show, you can go sign up on our Patreon. You go over there, check out the details. You'll see all that's going on. We got a newsletter. We got, we're doing a question of the month now. I think I have it figured out. Oh, and you can be over there with me as well so that we're both NPR. So
okay,
I think I should have that figured out by the weekend.
Okay,
and you can be in there as well.
There's also the Discord as well.
We have the Discord. Yep.
Discord, we do. Which there were just far too many topics for the NPR chat, so we opened up a Discord where people can share all their different things. And there actually even is a classified tab too, which is awesome. So there's all the stuff there.
And the other cool thing that Lucas did with that was that he did a virtual carpet fest where you go in and you can just have video chat and talk to people back and forth if you wanted, so it's pretty cool.
Yes.
These young people today.
Lucas did good. Lucas did good.
He did a good job. Yeah.
He did a good job, Lucas. Yeah.
We also have a merch store that you can check out if you want to do that as well, and we still have calendars if you are looking for those. All those are in the note. All the links are in the show notes, so you can check it out there.
I love.
And if you want to get in contact with us, MoreliaPythonRadio@gmail.com. What?
I love how you put the Discord that we were filming the Morph Spotlight on the caramel, and the first response is from Nipper, and it's caramel. It's like, okay.
he'll be happy that you said that most of the show, whereas I said caramel.
Caramel.
I think he was like, great, Morph talk and caramel.
Morph talk with these idiots again. He says all these things and he has all these complaints, and yet he keeps coming back. Like, glutton for punishment he is.
100%. But he loves our jibber
he does.
jabber. One of the things too, just so people know, at the Patreon, I wanted to make sure that the one thing that we do is we share. They get you on the inland tier. We share the episode on Saturday. It's coming up on that upcoming Tuesday. So
yes,
you get to see it early, and you get to see the video. That's all I got.
Cool. What I got is you can go to Rogue-Reptiles to see all the animals that I have for sale. Like we just scrolled through, there's a freaking lot of them. So I know the weather sucks right now. It is definitely too cold to ship, but now is the time to set up a payment plan. I will also be vending the shows in the area, Hamburg and Oaks. Hamburg's coming up, dude. That's February 24th. And I say Hamburg, but it's really Morgantown now. So it'll be the new thing there. So
convenient.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll bring some roughies.
Nice.
Yeah, you may actually be even able to pay
24th
and take them away.
Swing getting off work on the 24th. Maybe.
Yeah, you just got to run up the turnpike now. Yeah,
I know.
Yeah, the new digs. Yeah. So cool. Although I'm wary about having a reptile show in Jim's backyard. Like, it's hard enough to keep him away.
Yes.
Now, making it where he is easily, like, he can find it immediately and easily, I'm truly terrified. So
I don't blame you.
Good.
I don't blame you.
Good.
I can see why.
All right. But anyway, that's all we have for everybody tonight. We'll say thanks all for listening, and we'll catch everybody back here next week for some more Morelia Python Radio. Good night.